By popular demand, it is back. The NBA. Wager Talk Stat Sheet. Can you analyze the NBA with just one page of information? I think you can. And that's why the stat sheet was devised. It gives you year-to-date stats for every team playing that evening, broken up both home and away and overall on the season. And most importantly, it takes the last 2 weeks. There are many ebbs and flows in an NBA season, but looking at how a team has done the last 2 weeks, straight up, against the spread, and over-under is important. I've added an extra feature, though. Points scored, points allowed, average line, and average total. Having an ATS or over-under number is important, but knowing by how much that team has covered those games or how much the team went over or under the total, even more important. I also add a free Best Bet Daily. The NBA Wager Talk stat sheet, free daily. You go to WagerTalk.com, go to the Ralph Michaels page, and do not handicap an NBA.
All right, people, let's do this. Here we go. It is Tuesday, January the 19th. I'm Joe Ranieri. It's another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, the abbreviated NBA Tip-Off Show, since, well, we've only got 2 games scheduled here today in the association, and we're going to take a look at both of them, OKC and Denver, as well as New Orleans and the Utah Jazz. Let us bring in our esteemed panel, one of the best-looking crews that you will see anywhere on YouTube here, guys. Starting at the very top, Mr. Golden State himself. I mean, I don't even know anymore, all right, because his allegiance is all over the map. Actually, his allegiance is to money because he keeps nailing it, guys. Ski Prophet joining us. Also, say hello to our good friend Tony Mejia. He is back, crushing it in college hoops and the NBA. And then picking up the rear, and I can't think of anybody else better to pick it up than our good friend Steve Merrill, back in action once again there, Merrill. So, gentlemen, welcome in. Short card here on the association. That's all right. We'll cover these 2 games. We will do a quick recap of what happened yesterday on the show. Those of you that are just joining us, finally, the contrarian play of the day backfired a little bit. The favorite actually did win. In that case, the Toronto Raptors covered there last night in that game against Dallas. It was looking good for the half there, Ski, and then they ran out of steam in the second half. Toronto ended up getting the win and the cover. Now 9-1 and one COVID cancellation with our contrarian plays of the day. We'll go ahead and bring that back up again tomorrow. But Ski, I wanted to give you credit on this show, and I've said it once, guys. I'm saying it again if you are just joining us. When Ski goes against the Lakers in any way, shape, or form, I can't tell you, he is convinced then you better follow what Ski is saying. He did it with Golden State last night here on the show. You were a big believer in Golden State. You didn't like the spot for the Lakers, and you were spot on, Ski. So congratulations, man. You nailed it.
Thank you. I'm a big spot better, and I've been having success with that this year, so that's helping me pick against the Lakers. And I think there'll be a spot in the near future where that may flip and you'll see me on the Lakers. So now nobody can call me a homer, and I'm proud for that. I've hit 60% my last 45 in the NBA, so I'm starting to see things well, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't bet on you not being called a homer for the rest of the season here. That's not a bet I would take, Ski, but welcome in. Congratulations anyway. You're killing it. Tony Mejia, welcome back in, my friend. So talk to us. How was your night last night? How's NBA going for you, man? And what have you seen thus far in the NBA? Anything? You heard about spot betting there this NBA season. Have you learned anything thus far?
Well, I've learned you can never trust a 20-point lead at any point in any game. It really started slowly. I was on the receiving end of every bad beat early, and that's that I wanted to kind of take it easy, but I still got hammered over the first few weeks, dug myself a little bit of a hole, digging out of it. 5-2 on Sunday, 7-2 on yesterday's MLK Day slate. So doing well, and I actually did not know that the going against the Raptors was a contrarian play of the day. It was a 4% play for me on Toronto. Somebody brought it to my attention and said, I hope your friends aren't right this time. And thankfully, you guys weren't. So I'm 4-0 on my last 4% plays. I think it's 8-2 last 10, 4% or higher, 2-0, 5% for the season. So yeah, man, hopefully we get this going. We're now, 20% of the way in.
Yeah, well, I do want to thank you for appearing on the show, Tony. So now that you have gone ahead and jinxed the contrarian play, no need you coming on the show anymore, man. Thank you very much for that. I'm only kidding, though. No, awesome job, man. Congratulations backing that up there. And many more. Listen, it's a long season. The fact that we started out 9-1 is absolutely crazy. And Steve Merrill, let's get caught up, my man. I know it was a monster weekend. It's been a monster NBA college hoop season for you. What's been going on, man, and what do you got going on right now at Wager Talk?
Yeah, I've got it's a light card today, as you said, just 2 NBA. We're going to cover those both here on the show. So my one best bet tonight is a college basketball steamroller. And yes, college basketball remains red hot. 2-0 sweep on Saturday, now 25-7 on the season, 78%. And I've not lost a play in over a week in college hoops. It's the first one I've had this week. So right now at WagerTalk.com, college basketball steamroller blowout for Tuesday night.
All right, love it, guys. Make sure you get there. Let's dive into the first game on the board tonight. Let's go OKC here taking on the Denver Nuggets. This game opened up at 9.5. I'm seeing 10s now for Denver. The total also creeping up there to that 220.5 mark. And Ski, we'll start with you, my friend. Denver, home, altitude. Some people believe in it. Some people say, not so much. The Thunder had a little bit of rest coming into this game. So, I don't know, double digits here. Do you trust the Nuggets to be able to cover that number?
Well, I'll say I believe in the altitude, but I don't know if I believe that this Nuggets team is that good. Their record certainly doesn't indicate that they're that good. And I know that losing Jeremy Grant has proved to be a big part of their decline, at least in my opinion. So to cover double digits, it's just not something I want to ask the Nuggets to do. I know OKC is not considered to be that great, but they've covered 6 of their last 7 as a road dog. They've been great on the road in general. I think asking them to stay within 10 points against this Denver team is not a very tough ask. I know that Horford is out, so people think who guards Jokic, but I just think that Denver has not been that good, and I don't think it'll make that big of a difference. I know Jokic will probably have success, but I think OKC can keep it close in this one.
You're right. Horford is out. Michael Porter Jr. still out with COVID there for Denver. It seems like a big number, Tony Mejia. I mean, it just double digits in this spot. OKC coming off of 4 days rest. How do you have this game?
I mean, it was definitely a double take number. Oklahoma City's 5-1 on the road straight up, and they have a better record than the Nuggets at the moment. So I don't think not having Horford should move that line towards double digits. And yet when we see lines like this, Denver ends up winning by 20 typically. So it's a scary game, but no question. Michael Malone in game is must watch TV when they pan to him. The way they just squander leads due to bad defense and missed assignments. He's still been trying to find the right combination with Porter Jr. out. Will Barton has stepped into the starting lineup. They've had Gary Harrison in out, much better team when Gary Harris is out there and in rhythm because he's the one guy that you can count on to lock up an opposing perimeter player. But right, I mean, I'm staying away, I think, even though I'd love to touch Oklahoma City for fear of getting blown out. I think I'm going to leave this game alone. But I do have a player prop as my best bet, and I'll share at the end of the show. It's
an interesting number here, certainly there. When we look at it there, Steve Merrill, because Oklahoma City is ahead of only, I believe, the Cavs when it comes to offensive efficiency. They're not a great rebounding team. Denver is. It just seems like a terrible matchup here, but 10 points is still 10 points. How do you have it?
Yeah, I actually had the over Sunday between the Sixers and Thunder, and the game was canceled a few hours before tip-off. So I do think Oklahoma City is going to be rested in this one. And I was looking at the over in that game on Sunday, and I think this game could be high scoring as well. We saw the early number at 219.5 last night, went up to 220.5. Now there's a lot of 220s. It's been toggling back and forth. But the Nuggets, have been a pure over team going back to the restart last year. Ski and I did all those shows last summer and we were all talking about how they were just an automatic overplay. I think it was something like 13-1 start to the restart bubble into the playoffs that the Nuggets went over the total last year, and now they're 9-4 over this year as well. So Denver is a pretty easy team to make a case for the over. They put up 100 plus every game, but they also basically allow over 100 plus. And overall this year, their games are totaling almost 228 per game, Joe. So the question is, can Oklahoma City help get that game over the total? And as I mentioned, I was looking at the over Sunday. That game was canceled. 252 in their last game against Chicago totaled. They've now put up 100-plus points in 5 of their last 6. I don't think this total is high enough, and I would play the over. Denver -10, I do expect them to bounce back tonight. By the way, they're 4-1 straight up off their last 5 losses this year, but they've only covered 3 of those 5, and this 10-point line does look a little inflated.
All right, that's and it doesn't look like it's going to go the other way anytime soon, though. So that's game number 1 on the card tonight. Game number 2 on the card. We'll take a look at the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Utah Jazz. And this game, I saw 6.5s there. I'm seeing 6s now. I think there's even a 5.5 out there somewhere right now. Total at 220.5 is what it opened. 219. I'm seeing 217, 217.5. So. Tony Mia, let me start with you in this game here. The total seems to be coming down, seems to be getting the most action here. How are you approaching this Pelicans-Jazz game?
Well, I do have a side play up at WagerTalk as my lone play that I have up right now. So I've broken down this game somewhat. Lonzo Ball is potentially a go. I haven't seen what happened after shoot-around, but Stan Van Gundy sounded encouraged that he might be in the mix. That would obviously help New Orleans' defense because Nickeil Alexander-Walker has done a really nice job offensively, but not much of a defender. We saw Eric Bledsoe finally wake up after a really tough slump the other day, and that makes a world of difference for them when he's hitting the outside shot and being aggressive. Utah, after losing to Brooklyn and New York on back-to-back nights, has woken up and really played much better basketball. Royce O'Neal doing a nice job as the glue guy there. They might get Joe Ingles back tonight, so that would be a plus. The total looks a little low to me, but I can understand if you've got Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors kind of double teaming Zion Williamson to make life difficult for him. Not at the same time double teaming him, but going back to back with one replacing the other. Favors was a mentor to Zion in New Orleans in his one season where he stepped away from Utah. So he might have some inside information on how to best contain him. We also have Steven Adams in the mix as a rim protector for OKC. So while my inclination was that number's too low and I'd love to ride the over, it does give me pause. So that's why my pick on the game is just a side. I think I'll leave the total alone.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the last couple of times these two teams have played, it's been very, very close there. And I get the total. Utah has been very good to the under lately. And defensively for the Pelicans, they've certainly improved here, Steve Merrill. So when you look at this game, side total, how are you approaching it tonight?
What's interesting about the Pelicans is they went under their first 5 of the season, Joe, but they've now gone over 6 of their last 7. So New Orleans has actually been a real over team here in recent weeks. But the Jazz have been a really good defensive team. In fact, part of this 5-game win streak, really the whole reason is because of the defense. Their last 4 wins, they've held everyone to 41% shooting or less, including 40% or less in 3 of those 4 games. But they are putting up some points here. I mean, Utah's put up 116 or more in 2 of their last 3. Initially, I was actually kind of looking at the over here. I think one of the reasons the point spread has dropped is because Ball probably is going to play. The more I'm looking at this game, I think I'd be more comfortable at the side here, actually, with Utah now at -6. As you mentioned, it was 6.5. It's down to 6. We might even see some 5.5s now. Some of the leading indicator books are at -6 even money, which makes me think it's more likely to hit 5.5 than to go the other way. Utah right now is clicking on all cylinders. They had that long road. It all started with that bad showing against the Nets a few weeks ago. Remember, they were a 5-point road favorite. Durant was listed as out. They went out there from the start and just got blown out. But they've kind of turned things around here the last week and a half. And they're rested at home, and they had that altitude. With the Denver game, it's ironic the 2 games tonight are both altitude games. New Orleans is rested here, but this is still the 4th game on a road trip. I think the home court advantage has some meaning here with the altitude, and the price is getting cheaper. It'd be Jazz or pass for me on the side in this one.
I don't know. I mean, 6 it's out there, Ski. I mean, that seems kind of juicy back in this Pelicans team. Do you have If we were going to go contrarian, do you got enough nerve to go in this direction here and take New Orleans over Utah?
Well, the number I have is pretty much the same as the one for the game, which is 6, and the same for the total. So it's pretty much a tough line in this game. The thing I'll say is Utah, as Steve said, their defense hasn't improved. They're number 1 the last 5 games, defensive rating, and they're going to make life difficult for New Orleans. New Orleans is not a great shooting team. Zion's going to have trouble scoring. All the guys who like to live in the paint are going to have trouble scoring. So if Utah brings that defense, the thing I'll say about Utah and why I may see your contrarian angle, Joe, is because they had their game that they circled the last time out. They wanted to go out and beat Denver. That was my best bet that night for playoff revenge or whatever the case may be. So maybe they let up now. They've had their game that they circled and they take a breath. Besides that, Utah is the only thing I can look at. And I agree with the line move down for the total. I have both teams playing a slow pace, bottom 10 over the last 5 games. Like I said, I trust Utah's defense, and I don't trust New Orleans' offense to have success. So I'll go under, and I'll go Utah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Brandon Ingram and Zion, but it's that third guy. Who is it? Who's it going to be? We can't trust anybody on this team to get enough offensive efficiency going. So it's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting game, and is Utah going to continue to just shut teams down, not give up 100 points? We'll see what that happens here tonight. But again, as you heard here, these guys, certainly Tony Mejia, play up at WagerTalk, WagerTalk.com right now. Steve Merrill as well. And, of course, as long as you're at WagerTalk.com, you might as well grab yourself all-access packages, 3 days, 7 days, 30 days for any of these gentlemen. Make sure you never miss a play when it comes to their NBA selections, college basketball sections. All around, you have the opportunity. Head over to WagerTalk.com and invest in these guys. All right, only 2 games on the board here tonight. So I just wanted to take a minute as we are at this point in the season and get your thoughts. About a little over a month ago, we did a kind of a pre-NBA show. We talked about some of the future bets and some of the teams that you thought were play on all year. And I'm wondering, and I'll start with you, Ski, big surprise, anything at this particular point in the season a little bit different than what you thought it was going to be before the season started? Is there one team that sticks out to you?
Biggest surprise would be how bad the Raptors have been.
Yeah.
I didn't really think they would have great success, but I didn't think they would be that bad. I know the Nets. I talked about teams that I liked in the East, and I kind of said that I like Miami, and I kind of expected them to start slow just because they're one of the last couple of teams to be playing. They had the least amount of rest, but they've had some COVID issues and stuff like that, so they haven't really had all of their guys. And the Sixers were another team that I like, but the Brooklyn Nets just look so tough now, so it's tough. I think the Nets have won me over.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Anybody that was looking at Boston or anybody else in the East prior to this trade before the season started. Steve Merrill, what has changed in your mind, if anything, here about what's the one team that sticks out to you that you thought might be a winning play, but now you're scratching your head?
Well, I was actually going to go the other way, John. I was going to say the one team we kind of slammed on that preseason show was the Knicks. Andy Lang asked quickly on the way out, is there any chance? I was like, no, don't even bother with them. And, their season win total was like 23. Yeah. They're sitting at 7 and 8 already. Yeah. So that's been a big surprise for me. But with that said, I think their days are numbered. They're playing hard-nosed defense, but at some point, maybe especially when they're out of the playoff race in the final month, are they going to still play hard-nosed defense? We'll see. I think they could be a good play against in the future. I'll tell you a play-on team that Andy mentioned. I believe Andy was one that mentioned it. Tony might have mentioned it as well as he was on that show, was the Indiana Pacers. And they're quietly only a half a game behind the Bucks right now for that division title. And look, I don't think they're going to win the division. I mean, Milwaukee probably finds a way to do it. But if you look at the FanDuel odds right now for that division, you can get Milwaukee is 1-10. The Pacers are 7-1. So, I mean, you got a lot of hedge potential there if you want to take a 7-1 flyer on the Pacers to win the division right now, and then just keep an eye on it. Because as I said on the preview show, Milwaukee under 50 wins was one of my future plays. And I said these big boys just don't have anything to prove in the regular season. We look at the Nuggets, who we just talked about. They're 6-7 right now. They were one of the best teams in the league last year. I still think these big Class A teams are going to go through the motions, and I don't blame them. They need to do load management. It's a concise season. The playoffs around the corner. Plus, they just played a late season into September, October. So I don't know. Pacers at 7-1, maybe worth a little flyer, and then start to hedge it out if it gets tight.
See what happens with the Thib effect here as the season moves on. The Derrick Rose effect. Let's see what happens there. Tony Mejia, talk to me, my friend. What, if anything, has stuck out to you thus far in the season?
Well, just to piggyback on what Steve was saying about the Pacers, Miles Turner has the hand fracture, but it looks like he's going to either play through it. He practiced today, so that's a testament to his toughness. Karis LeVert with the mass in his kidney, he was at practice, did his whole media rounds today. Everybody loves him, and hopefully, thoughts and prayers to him that it's nothing serious, and we'll get to see him back in the lineup, because that's a team you don't want to see in the playoffs if Turner and LeVert are healthy, and you got the Holiday brothers. And Malcolm Brogdon, Demonis Sabonis. So I'm in total agreement with Steve that that's a sleeper. I only got one future in. I got the Pelicans preseason plus 630 to win the Southwest, and that's wide open. And the two biggest surprises to me are San Antonio and Memphis, which got it going without Ja Morant. Now he's back. Grizzlies have won 5 straight, and they're right there, a half a game behind the Spurs. The Spurs are leading the division at 8-6. You figure that the Rockets have bowed out now, even though the Victor Oladipo, Christian Wood pick and roll combination looked really sharp last night in the loss to Chicago. But I still like the Pelicans getting hot in the second half of the season once Zion really gets going. At plus 630, I'm sitting pretty with a wide open division.
All right, yeah, there's plenty of basketball to be played tomorrow. Back to a full card, guys. We'll be back, of course, to our contrarian player today. We'll preview a couple of the featured games, and, of course, our overtime and totals play. We'll take a look at that. And big matchups yesterday. Tomorrow, Boston, Philly. Brooklyn is taking on that high school team in Cleveland. Dallas, Indiana. And, of course, Memphis, Portland, too. Like you said, just getting everyone back there. So plenty of opportunities, guys, for us all to make it a profitable next 48 hours in the NBA. It starts, of course, by heading over to WagerTalk.com. Getting signed up, getting yourself and investing in, whether it be Ski, whether it be Tony Mejia, Steve Merrill, all three of them. Grab yourself a 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access pass. Don't forget, Tony Mejia, best bets are up right now. NBA, college hoops, as is Steve Merrill's. Make sure you swing by and check out Ski's page. We'll be back again tomorrow with the NBA Tip-Off Show, doing it all again, breaking down big card here tomorrow. But on behalf of Ski and Tony Mejia and Steve Merrill, I'm Joe Ranieri. Guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Come back and join us again tomorrow, right around the same time. We get to do it all over again. So best of luck with your plays, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
You can lock in 30 days of any NBA or college basketball plays, including 5% best bets released from your favorite WagerTalk or SportsMemo handicapper for just $6.63 per day. A 30-day NBA pass is priced at $189 and a 30-day college basketball pass at $189. But you can get both for only $199. To take advantage of this special offer, just go to WagerTalk.com and